Hello everybody, happy Friday. I'm so happy to be here with you today for story time. We have some fun stories today. I have some new ones and some old ones, some repeats. Hopefully you'll like the ones I chose. Today's theme is kind of about being silly. Hopefully you are feeling silly today. The first book we're going to read today is called Good Night Gorilla, and it's by Peggy Rathman. This one's kind of funny because, I'll put these behind me, because there's not a lot of words in this book, but I bet you can help me read them. Good night, Gorilla. Good night, Gorilla. See the zookeeper? He's telling him good night. Look what he's doing. Can you see it? Look. Out goes the monkey, or the gorilla. He's gonna follow the zookeeper. Good night, elephant. Good night, lion. Look what the gorilla's doing. He's unlocking the lion's cage. Good night, hyena. Good night, giraffe. Look at the gorilla. He's unlocking all the cages. Good night, armadillo. Look, the zookeeper's going home. And all the animals. Oh, here's the zookeeper going home over here. And all the animals followed him. Can you see them? And look, they all went into his house. The zookeeper's tired and he's going to bed. Good night, dear. And she's telling him good night. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Get all those good nights from all the animals. The zookeeper's wife's eyes pop open. Look who's in bed with the zookeeper. The gorilla. And here she goes. She's walking everyone back to the zoo. Good night, zoo. Look who's with her. The gorilla. Good night, dear. Good night. Look at the gorilla. He's sneaking back in bed. Good night, gorilla. Isn't that silly? Alright, our next story is called It's the Bear, and it's by Jez Alborough. This one's one of my favorite books. You know why I like it? It's a rhyming book. You know how I like my rhyming books. Eddie doesn't want to come and picnic in the woods with Mom. I'm scared, he said, about the bear, the great big bear that lives in there. A bear, said Mom. That's silly, dear. We don't get great big bears around here. It's just you and me and your Teddy Freddy. Now let's all get this picnic ready. We've got lettuce and tomatoes and cream cheese spread with hard-boiled eggs and crusty brown bread. There's orange juice, cookies, some chips, and oh my! I forgot to pack the blueberry pie. I'll dash back and get it. I won't be long. But Mom! Gasped Freddie. It's too late. She'd gone. He sat on the basket and tried not to cry. Then, I can smell food, yelled a voice from nearby. It's the bear, cried Eddie. Where can I hide? Then he opened the basket and clambered inside. Out of the trees stepped a big hungry bear, licking his lips and sniffing the air. A teddy bear's picnic, he bellowed. Hooray! Help! Whispered Eddie. He's coming this way. He cuddled his teddy, he huddled and hid. Then a great big bear bottom sat down on the lid. The bear munched and he crunched and he chomped and he chewed. He greedily gobbled up all of the food. Now what's for dessert? Said the bear. Let me see. Oh please, whimpered Eddie. Don't let it be me. Don't let him see me. Don't let him come. Help! Shouted Eddie. I want my mom! Have you ever shouted that? Eddie, I'm coming, called Mom. Are you hurt? It's the bear, cried Eddie. He thinks I'm dessert. A bear, said Mom. I told you, my dear. Your Freddy's the only bear around here. No, he's not, screamed Eddie. Behind you, he's there. Don't be silly, said Mom. There can't be. There just can't be. There isn't. A bear! I told you, cried Eddie. Run, shouted Mom. Blueberry pie, said the bear. I love it. Yum, yum. Our next book is called Silly Tilly. And I heard that this was Corny the Clown's favorite book. So I don't know if you've met Corny the Clown, but he loves being silly and he loves hearing jokes and telling jokes too. This one is also a rhyming book. Another one today. This book, Silly Tilly, is by Eileen Spinelli and illustrated by David Slonim. Tilly was a silly goose, a daffy down and dilly goose, who took her baths in apple juice. Fix my camera just a little bit for you. She wore a pancake as a hat. She tried to ride the farmer's cat. She kissed a fish. Imagine that. Tilly liked to tickle frogs and kick a pickle to the hogs and hop on top of soggy logs. She combed her feathers with a rake. She sailed Pig's pail across the lake. She sat on Rooster's birthday cake. Uh-oh. One day her friend said, "That's enough! Enough of all your silly stuff." Their barnyard voices sounded gruff. No more naps in Scarecrow's pants. No packing Piglet off to France. No yodels at the harvest dance. I would have liked to hear Silly Tilly yodel, wouldn't you? The weeks went by and Tilly Goose stopped being such a silly goose. Good job, said Cousin Billy Goose. Look at her sad face. It happened, though, that Hedda Hen remarked, "I haven't laughed since when? Since Tilly chased the garbage men." Since Tilly sneezed, said Harvey Goat, and blew the fleas from Farmer's coat, and set his underwear afloat. Look at the farmer's underpants floating. It's Dullsville on the farm, no fun. I think I speak for everyone, said Horse. I know what must be done. And so they did apologize with quacks and oinks and heartfelt sighs. to Tilly's, silly Tilly's great surprise. Now Tilly's back to her old ways. She soaks her feet in mayonnaise and sleds downhill on cookie trays. She glues blue glitter on the plow and turns 6 cartwheels on the cow. And all the farm is happy now. The end. I always think the world is a little bit of a happier place when we all can be a little bit silly. If you watch Storytime with me, you know that being silly is one of my favorite things. Do you ever like to be silly? I wonder what you do to be silly. Our last book is one of my very, very favorites. It's a songbook, so hopefully you'll like this one too. But it is a hard one to read because look at the name of this book. It's really long. And it rhymes. So this one is called Catalina Magdalena Hoopensteiner Wallendiner Hogan Logan Bogan was her name. Look at the eyes on the front. Can you see them? How they wiggle? Whoop. And they go round and round. This book is by Ted Arnold. Let's see what you think of this one. Look, here's the little baby. She was just born. There's her dad at the hospital taking pictures. She had a funny name, but she wasn't much to blame. Her mother gave it to her just the same. Catalina Magdalena Hoopensteiner Wallendiner Hogan Logan Bogan was her name. Well, she had 2 peculiar hairs on her head. One was black and one was red. Catalina Magdalena Hoopensteiner Wallendiner Hogan Logan Bogan was her name. She had 2 eyes that were quite a sight. One looked left and the other looked right. Catalina Magdalena Hoopensteiner Wallendiner Hogan Logan Bogan was her name. She had 2 holes in the bottom of her nose. One for her fingers and one for her toes. Ew! Catalina Magdalena Hoopensteiner Wallendiner Hogan Logan Bogan was her name. She had 2 teeth inside of her mouth. One went north and the other went south. Catalina Magdalena Hoopensteiner Wallendiner Hogan Logan Bogan was her name. She had 2 arms that flopped all around. When she walked, they would drag on the ground. Catalina Magdalena Hoopensteiner Wallendiner Hogan Logan Bogan was her name. She had 2 feet that were wide and flat, each one bigger than a bathroom mat. Catalina Magdalena Hoopensteiner Wallendiner Hogan Logan Bogan was her name. She had 1 brain inside of her head. What she thought is what she said. Catalina Magdalena Hoopensteiner Wallendiner Hogan Logan Bogan was her name. Some folks say that her breath smells sweet, but me, I'd rather smell her feet. Catalina Magdalena Hoopensteiner Wallendiner Hogan Logan Bogan was her name. If rain makes flowers sweet and clean, there ought to be a downpour on Magdalene. What's happening? A rainy wedding. She's getting married. Catalina, Magdalena, Hoopensteiner, Wallendiner, Hogan, Logan, Bogan. Smith was her name. Smith? And there she is, all married. Well, friends, I am so glad that you joined me today. I cannot wait to read stories with you again on another day. If you have a favorite book that you'd like me to read sometime, please let me know. I would love to make sure that I'm reading all of your favorite stories. Friends, I can't wait to see you again next time. I hope you have a wonderful Friday. See you guys. Mwah!